Welcome to the Men of Honor podcast. My name is Corey, your host, and this is the first podcast in. I've got no idea when the last time I made one, but I'm really excited to be back. And the reason why I left is because there were so many things going on in my life. I been trying to be an entrepreneur online and doing sort of different businesses. And I remember when I was doing this podcast, I had like spinning, felt like spinning plates. Pretty much had eight things I was doing, and there was this idea and that idea, and trying to do a Facebook group, and then trying. I had so many things I was doing, and I felt overwhelmed, and I tried to try and focus on one thing, and even though I focused on that one thing, I still kind of failed. And when I say failed, I mean it didn't. I didn't have the outcome that I wanted, but I had the lessons that I needed. And one of the reasons why I've sort of framed it as failure is the fact that I just went into a process where I just sort of stopped trying things. Went more into a deeper search in myself, like what do I really want? What do I really want to do? And it led me on a path where I started trying to do some other things. And I think the last thing was I was working on aesthetics, started working with women, um, helping them with their business to try and advertise. And it was just a little bit of a toxic situation. These are women that help other women, but they've got this mentality where they do not like men telling them what to do. So it became very difficult. I was not connecting with them, and it just was a very torrid time. So after trying to launch, doing stuff, and really helping a few women get their businesses on track, and doing all that stuff, it seemed like things were looking good until Facebook put me into Facebook jail, which is a Facebook ads. If you ever run Facebook ads, it's got an algorithm that looks at your ads, and then sometimes it just decides that it doesn't want you to run ads. Tried to get my account back, and it just sort of, yeah, that sort of just knocked me for six. And I think that's where I would say the failure happened. But it was something that I needed to go. It felt like I went to the bottom of the barrel, like the lowest I could ever go, and I just really stopped to think and think, what do I really want to do it myself? And there's one fundamental thing when it comes to business is that you, and it's something that I heard so many times, and I started seeing that maybe this was the key to the whole thing, is that if you are going to start an online business, especially now, it should be centered around a result that you've achieved and something that you can actually offer somebody. And in the fact that I was not I'm an aspiring entrepreneur, and I wasn't hitting the numbers that would uh, constitute success, I found myself feeling like a little bit of an imposter. So yeah, I didn't feel like maybe that was the path that I was supposed to be taking. Um, Maybe the path that I was supposed to be taking was what I was good at, which was being a PUA and teaching people how to build confidence. And I knew that maybe that's the direction I needed to take, but I just didn't know. I didn't want to be a dating coach, and neither did I want to be giving information that was just wishy-washy, or just sort of researched information, and I wanted to really find an actual problem. And that, I knew that was what I was supposed to be doing, but I sort of put it at the back of my mind. And then I just went through this sort of 3-4 months of just being lost and not knowing what to do, like sit in front of a laptop and just really not know what to do, or sit in front of my phone and want to do something, but just really no idea. In fact, I had many ideas, but I just didn't know where to execute, where to go. Part of it was me just moving away from Facebook, moving away from Instagram, and just really switching off from all of that. And it has been actually great in terms of that. I don't go on TikTok. I don't consume anything on social media. I do when I go on my laptop. So I still go active to read and do things. But because I'm so limited, it gave me so much time, and it gave me so much time to think and really start focusing on what do I really want to do and what can I really contribute. And um, I was just not sure. I was just really stuck. And I know some people have this feeling, and you feel it because you got your job. If you're married, then you got your spouse and children, and you've got this sort of set routine, and it becomes almost like a hamster wheel. You just going through life, and then it's another day, and then it's another week, and then all of a sudden it's another month, and we're like 6 months in, almost 7 months into the year, and I've achieved none of the goals that I had set in the beginning of the year. And I know this is too raw, and I thought as a welcome episode, I'll just sort of catch you up on where I am within my life. And I don't know if that's any significant and it's important to you, but I'm hoping that this message gets you at the point where I was, and what shifted and caused a revival in my life. So one of the things that I was thinking about was, okay, maybe I need to focus on me and then see what the issues are that stop me from actually being successful, and what are the things that are stopping me from moving forward. And I started realizing that there were so many bad habits within my life, and that were really stopping me from moving forward. So one of the things was not cultivating a relationship with my wife, which is very important. I think in terms of anything that you're doing, whether you've got a partner and whether you're married or you are looking, or even if you're single, the relationships that you have. If you treat them with care and they're nurturing, and you nurture them, and you grow within those relationships, it actually helps you on your pursuit of goals, because no one has ever conquered the world by themselves. They've always had people on the side, and people that cheer for you, and people that will, when you are down, will bring you up. So those are really important parts of really trying to understand that. And then also then understanding my health habits were having a negative effect on the way I think, and the way I pursue certain goals, and the way I been trying to set up the business, in that there was a negative impact. So I put on loads of weight, got a dead bod, beer belly, and it's quite embarrassing, very embarrassing. But that itself came with its own issues. So one of the issues that I'm unattractive to my wife, which means when I'm unattractive, she might not say it, but there's that feeling of, is that unattractive, or can you try and lose weight, or there's that she's not lusting over me. So that's one thing. The other thing is also the you think about it. I'm feeling so embarrassed talking about this, but it's something that I think somebody needs to hear. That and somebody needs to say, so that somebody can actually see that they're not by themselves, and it's something that you can do to actually work on it. So the other thing was, my dad suffers from type 2 diabetes. So that's something that I was now beginning to think of, and like being cognizant of. And at the same time, while I was thinking about it, and while I was worrying about my weight, and I still found myself, indulging in this horrible diet. So like, eating really bad. Would have Greg's nearly 4 or 5 times a day. No, 4 times a week. And then I would have, cakes and all sorts of rubbish that would just shorten my life. So I started thinking about making a change, and like really just focusing on me first before I start thinking about conquering the world, and doing all sorts of things. So I started focusing more on my work and what I do on my day to day, and then started focusing on training. So in terms of training, I knew I didn't want to go to the gym, because I would go usually. My cycle has always been, I go to the gym for 3 months, and then I'll lose a bunch of weight, maybe tone up a little bit, and then I'll get bored. Then I repeat the cycle again. So just go and start eating rubbish, and then after a few months, I'm back to heavy weight, and then so. I needed to do something that was different, and I found myself looking into MMA, maybe Muay Thai, and started doing Muay Thai, and absolutely love Muay Thai. It's not just the fact that you're learning a skill to defend yourself, but it challenges your brain, it challenges how you think and your perspective. And I found myself now really pursuing goals differently. So I'm sort of 5 weeks in doing five Muay Thai, and I'm beginning to see that my day to day is different. The way I actually communicate with people that are around me, because I feel confident in my skin. I feel confident. I think the fact that I feel confident that I can actually protect myself if I was under attack is something that starts resonating. Even the way I speak, my voice tone, and that's beginning to sort of affect the way I speak to people. And then when I say speak to people, I don't speak to them intimidating. But what I mean is, I feel just confident in myself, and I feel happier within myself. So it started giving me that idea that maybe there's something to this in terms of men and the issue that I've been facing. Like, I know for a fact that I wasn't alone, and I know that for a fact because I only have to walk in the street, and then I'll see all these guys with dead bodies, and all these guys, we all have this thought of, yeah, we're happy with how we look, and you know, but usually, and this is what I'm beginning to see, that that's usually a perfect symptom or a perfect sign to show that there's something that is wrong, because we all know that um keeping that kind of weight and not looking after your body has got negative health effects. So whether it could be a heart attack, and I know a few people that have had heart attacks recently, and people with diabetes, you can get your leg amputated. So we know all these negative effects, and for somebody to turn around and say, you know what, I'm happy with this, and I don't really care, that the fact that you think that way means that there is something that is wrong in your thought process and the way you view yourself. And what I think the biggest one was the fact that you know um, over a period of time, men, we are told to suppress our feelings and really not talk about outwardly what's bothering us and affecting us. And again, when I'm saying talk about your feelings and stuff, I'm talking about towards your male friends and maybe a therapist or somebody like that. The worst thing that you can do, I haven't done this, is to go and start unloading onto your wife, because she's already got thousand things that she's thinking about, and then the worst thing that you can do is go and start brain dumping on her. And to be fair, some women say, yeah, you need to talk to me and I'll support you. And some women could be absolutely supportive, and but generally from um, past experiences and seeing how women act around men, there is a survival thing within them when you open up like that. Uh, there's a part of it where you are the provider, you're the leader, and then all of a sudden, when you crumble, that wall where she can grow as a vine seems flimsy. So it creates some sort of uneasy within her, that, okay, is this the man that I can trust for him to protect my family? So there is that issue. Then that's one of the reasons why men don't speak. And I realized for the first time that I do have a lot of friends, but I actually realized that there were times I found myself being lonely because of, just the fact that life just took over and things like that. So, and I'm covering a lot of sort of random things, and hopefully I can all bring it all back together into one neat bow. But what I'm trying to say is that I started really focusing on really what do I want and what is the most important thing I can do for myself. And the first thing was to go and train and start eating right. And I started doing this, and this has been one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Doing Muay Thai, and not only was I training and feeling better by myself and in a better headspace, I started speaking to the guys that uh, I train with, and I'm beginning to form relationships and friendships. In fact, this weekend is the first time I'm going to go to a Muay Thai event. I've been invited to go and come and watch, and it's going to be incredible. And I'm trying to support somebody who's part of the club, and it's building this sort of sense of community within or be involved in. But not just that; it's the fact that um, it's breaking up my normal hamster wheel type life. I've got something else that is different. And the amazing part about Muay Thai is that as soon as you go in there, it's hard for you to leave and give up on it, because every single time I go, I'm learning something new every time, and it keeps it so exciting because you're constantly learning, and it's not just throwing kicks or punches. There's actual technique towards it, and all of that appeals to me personally. But also is the fact that you are learning, so you because you're learning and your brain is active, you don't actually realize that you're training. So fatigue, I would feel it a few hours at the training. That's when I feel, oh wow, my body is sore, but I didn't realize it while I was at the training. So it's been one of those things that has been a massive revelation for me, but it's also something that I would encourage somebody to take on. Now, most people would say, "Oh, I'll just go to the gym," and I think the gym, there's a place for the gym, but there's something so amazing where you can join a group of people that are like-minded. It's easier to stick, and this is one of the things that has been the major thing that I can find myself doing this for the rest of my life, because there's a sense of community, there's a sense of you developing your individual journey, but there's also a sense of you getting better within the club as well, and within that community that of people that are doing the same thing. So, and everybody's helping you to get better. And there's you can see that there's a difference within skill level, but everybody's willing you on to get better. And that again is such an amazing feeling when you got people that are complete strangers, but they're working towards the technique, making sure that you're good. And again, it's not even like when we go sparring, it's like one of the, the exciting days where you could walk in and be beaten up by uh, a 15-year-old girl, because they're that good in terms of skill. But it's the fact that it's so cool that there's so much difference within the skill, within the weight, your weight and height, and all sorts and ages and so on. So there's one of my favorite guys to hold pads with. He's a gentleman. I don't know. I think he's probably either mid 50s or closer to 60, and he's so hell bent on using the right technique. And I love the fact that he corrects me every single time, and it encourages me because he wants me to get good. You can feel that he wants me to get good, and that sort of encouragement and being able to, you know, build those kind of relationships is so important, especially like is when you are now an adult and you got children, and having those sort of people that are willing you on, because at the end of the day, everybody's got issues going on at home, and that sort of escape has been absolutely incredible. Not just the fact that I'm trading, but the fact that I'm making new friends, the fact that I'm learning a new skill. There's so many things that I'm getting as a benefit from it. Now, I've said all of this, and it's sort of been sort of up in the air and everywhere, and sort of jumping between different things. What made me get to this point is the fact that I started researching on something, and one of the things that I had a conversation with, especially when we started the Men of Honor Facebook group and started doing some podcasting, we knew that there were some issues in terms of relationships within marriages or just relationships. And the huge one was sex. And we managed to get a sex therapist to come and have a conversation with us. And we sort of touch the surface, and that was always at the back of my mind. And I found myself reading a few books over the past few months. I think over the year, I've gone through at least 6 or 7 different books. Some of them to do with porn, some of them to do with um, intimacy, some of them to do with sort of sex between the marriage and all those things. And I started realizing that there's a common issue, and I didn't have a name to it up until I came across a book called Dead Bedroom and How to Fix It. And that book is incredible. And I recommend that you read that book. And it's called, but let me just make sure that you have the author as well. But it's called Dead Bedroom and How to Fix It. And it's written by, just one second, guys. It's written by, um, it's DSO, but I think I forgot his name. It's a organization, and basically he walks you through why uh, you got a dead bedroom and so on. And it sort of brought connections between all the other studies I was doing. So it was kind of like that final missing piece for what I wanted to do. So like as soon as I read that book, I instantly knew what I needed to do, and I'm so grateful for that because there's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of, in fact, thousands, possibly millions of men that are suffering within their relationships, and not just men. And I'm also discovering that women as well that are suffering within relationships where there is a mismatch in sexual desire, and this is huge, and there's a cause for it. And usually, when children come in play, it becomes even more pronounced. So and there's a select few within the world that have sort of navigated around this. So this podcast from now on is going to be centered around that topic, which is dead bedrooms, how to fix it, and it's going to center around the sort of peripheral topics around it that would strengthen your relationship with your partner. Not just that, but also work on yourself, because I think the the one thing that I did realize out of everything in terms of becoming a better partner is becoming more selfish. The more selfish you become, the better partner you become. And what I mean by that is that if you start working on yourself in terms of going to the gym, you start working on yourself in terms of your diet, you start really focusing on really what you want to do as an impact on the world and what you want to achieve, whether it's financial, whether it's spiritual, whether it's whatever you start setting your mind to, um, those things, as you pursue them, it increases how desirable you are, because we sort of neglect, and this is what I did, neglected my desire, my needs, in order to become, and I thought that was what I needed to do to become a better husband, which is completely false. So the one thing that I think connects everything that I've learned and sort of sums it up is that you have to start focusing on you. And we'll talk about all those different topics that will help you start focusing on what are the areas of your life, what are the things that you need to be focusing on to make you into a high value male, a man of honor, somebody who's not just attractive to your wife, but also a leader within where you work, a leader within your house, also a leader within your community. And those are very important keys, especially in terms of translating into um, really just being effective as a human being. And not just that, but it's also uh, one of the things that you desire, which is more intimacy with your wife. Some of those things will come as a byproduct of you actually focusing on those things, because I missed the biggest thing that I used to teach my clients when I was a dating coach, was to sort of take away outcome dependency. And then I started realizing myself that I did outcome dependency. I was just doing so many things in my house and doing so much with that, hoping that I might get laid, which was probably very detrimental to me getting laid, anyways. So it's sort of those things that we're going to be talking about, and really getting you focused on what it is to be a high value male. What it does it mean to be a man of honor, in terms of you being just a leader, somebody who's attractive, somebody who's focused. Like I think of people like Elon Musk. Like, what is it that makes them so driven? What makes them so focused? And I've realized that there's certain habits that they do, certain things that keeps them. And one of the things is just being completely selfish and really thinking about, how do I make myself better? How do I um, make myself a better person today? And they do this with marginal gains. They're not looking for this big massive thing. They're just looking for that one little thing that will make them better that day, and then the next, and the next, and then over a year you've got this massive big change, which is impressive. So thank you very much for listening. Massively long podcast episode, and it's been amazing to come back. So from here on, I think I'm going to be recording maybe another four or five, and I'm just going to start laying the foundation. I'm going to make them short, try and make them as short as possible, maximum 15 minutes. But I'm going to be putting points, bullet points, and really just walking you guys through different aspects of, really reviving your bedroom. And I think that's where we're going to be centered on. And this is where I think we're going to be centered around, because I think when you fix a lot of the things uh, that's causing you not to be active in the bedroom, um, it's all about working on yourself. So if it means you are looking in better shape or looking very sexy, we're going to talk about stuff like male grooming, we're going to talk about a little bit about fashion. I'm going to talk about a little bit about diet, exercise. Going to talk about training. Going to talk about seduction. Going to talk about you know um, you know power dynamics within the relationship. So there's going to be quite a lot of topics we're going to be covering, and I'm really excited about it. And um, in terms of going to look for guests, I now have a handful that I really, really want to come to our podcast and really give us value and really share with us some good insights. So again, it's given me a real good focus. Before I was just up and up and everywhere. So I'm really, really excited about this. And yeah, see you guys very soon. Take care.